Finally, The Rock is back in the WWE. Roman Reigns has his match official for the Royal Rumble and new signings for AEW. It's Wrestling Uncensored time. Let's go. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome in. First show for Wrestling Uncensored of 2024. Happy New Year, Big Johnny.
Likewise, Dave. How's it going?
Not bad, man. Not bad. I'm excited to talk some wrestling. It's been an eventful week in professional wrestling. There's a lot going on. The WWE is on fire. The WWE coming in.
Way?
They're coming in hot. You look at the talent that they have right now. You look at the stars that they have added to the roster over the past few months. It is incredible the amount of star power that they have added to bolster their roster heading into the Royal Rumble and then, of course, heading into Wrestlemania season. Their biggest time of the year between January and April is looking very strong. They've added CM Punk. They've brought back Randy Orton. And this week on Raw, The Rock made another appearance for the WWE. Second appearance in, 6 months? He was on Smackdown not that long ago. He shows up on Raw. Very surprised. I think most people were surprised. I was very surprised to see The Rock show up. And the WWE now looking really good heading into WrestleMania season. They have an abundance of stars. They not only have Punk and Rock possibly in the mix, they have the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, the top star in professional wrestling. They have the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. They have LA Knight, one of the fastest rising stars in the business. They have the phenomenal AJ Styles, who we saw tonight in action, looking in top form on SmackDown. The WWE has a lot going for them heading into the Rumble, heading into WrestleMania season. I'm very excited for the Royal Rumble. It looks very good from what they have set up so far and what we're expecting heading into Mania. This is a very good time to be a WWE fan. This is a good time for Wrestling Uncensored. I'm excited at what the WWE is offering us right now. The addition of Punk, the addition of Randy, and now The Rock coming in and saying at the end of his promo, he's going to go have something to eat, and maybe he'll sit at the head of the table. I mean, come on, brother. That's tremendous. If you smell what I'm cooking, Johnny, that's a challenge for WrestleMania. That's Roman versus Rock. That's the biggest match you could possibly make in professional wrestling. It's a match we've been asking for, practically begging for years now. And they are setting it up. They've got it all put together. And they have CM Punk. I mean, don't you think the WWE is on fire right now? Like, forget the problems you may have with the WWE. And sure, there are some weak points in the company. There are some severely weak points on the show. But overall, if you look at the big picture of who they have and what they have going heading into their big show, it's pretty good. Compared to most years, this year is looking pretty good. WrestleMania 40, like Franco 316 is saying, finally, that's what we are waiting for. A big, big WrestleMania. Big, big stars. Big matches. It's looking good.
No, you're right, 100%. With star power, they're definitely providing that, and that's what people want to see right now. I don't think people even want to see good matches at this point because that's not really what gets over so much. It's more about just seeing stars and reacting to them, and they can do whatever they want in the ring or just say whatever they want, and people will react. So that's kind of what they should be pushing more so than anything. And they're doing a great job of that. I still find Raw, hopefully one day, someday, maybe this year, we'll go back to 2 hours because it is very rough to watch every week. Even though The Rock helps with 20 minutes, but then 20 minutes and then he's gone.
Yeah.
And then you have to watch Raw again. And then it's like, well, I'm not going to watch the rest of the way. How can you watch this after you just saw like one of the best things you've seen possibly all year that you're going to see? So that's kind of rough that you do that. I'm glad it wasn't at the end of the show in a sense because it gave it a lot of time. But you still have to watch the rest of the show was the problem. That was kind of rough.
And that always is the downside of a Rock appearance. I remember the same thing when he appeared on SmackDown. We said the same thing. The rest of the show felt kind of lower grade because we've seen the greatest promo guy of all time go and cut a long promo, and it was very exciting. And, yeah, I stopped before I said it, but I think The Rock is the greatest promo guy of all time. There's been a lot of great people on the mic, but like in his prime, and the fact that he can still get the people going today, I don't know if anybody's better on the microphone than Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's got competitors. It's tough to say, number one for sure of all time, but if you're making a list and you don't include The Rock, you're slipping, right?
No, 100%. Like he's there without question. All time, it's tough. I think Roddy Piper was definitely up there, and a lot of people can argue, debate that in different styles and all that, different times, of course.
Yeah, different era, and The Rock could go out there 20, 30 minutes by himself on a mic and have the crowd going crazy. I never saw Piper do that. Not saying he couldn't have, it just wasn't the style. By himself for that long, I mean, Rock had segments and segments on Raw where he was, just entertaining. He did house show promos after the show that lasted 20, 30 minutes where he was just kind of talking to the crowd and doing stuff, and no one left. The whole building went nuts.
Yeah, there was that without question. I remember Stone Cold doing that as well back in the day as well. That was quite entertaining.
He was up there too. You can't say Stone Cold wasn't one of the best promo guys ever either.
I'd even say Mick Foley too. I know a lot of people are like, Mick Foley isn't that good. Mick Foley was fantastic at cutting a promo. Like he really got you invested in a match. More so than you were originally going into a match. Mick Foley could really hype up a match with just a promo. Yeah. He was very, very good.
Of course. I mean, there are many great promo guys. We're not talking about guys like the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, even the great CM Punk. Tremendous promo guys. We've seen great guys on the microphone. MJF is a young man who's doing some tremendous work. But I think The Rock, just based on longevity, based on what he was able to do, the consistency, going back and forth, babyface, heel, he was very good. Like I'm not even talking about the current Rock, the Dwayne. I'm talking about The Rock when he had hair. Rock with hair, best promo guy ever. That guy was the best.
Well, I like that this week we got a little glimpse of that old Rock again because he brought back that old "it doesn't matter anymore" line. I love that line. I wish he would have kept using that. He kind of stopped doing that for a bit, but that was a fantastic line.
Yeah.
And didn't he say jabroni again too? It's been a while since he said that.
Yeah. You didn't call him a Rudy Poo candy ass, but still, it was good. It was a good promo. It was a fun promo. And when the WWE was advertising a former WWE champion to appear on Raw, I was expecting something cool. I didn't know what to expect. We speculated Batista maybe as a Hall of Fame announcement. I think I did mention The Rock. I think I said, Rock maybe?
I think, the throw-off was because it was on Raw, right?
Yeah.
You would think if The Rock would show up, he'd be on SmackDown. But I like their idea of, we have The Rock, let's just use him. And, yeah, it works because you could have that carry over into SmackDown, which they did tonight.
And I'm just saying last week when we were trying to figure it out, I think I mentioned The Rock's name, but I thought,
I think you did.
It's not going to be The Rock.
Right.
Because whenever we mention The Rock's name, we go, that would be the ultimate. That would be cool. Maybe it'll be the Hulkster brother, but it's kind of, maybe it'll be Stone Cold. Maybe it'll be Bret Hart, but we don't expect those guys to actually show up. And then when Jinder comes out as the former WWE champion who's appearing on Raw, you go, oh, man. I thought they're baiting and switching me. They're messing with us. They're advertising a cool thing, and then they're bringing Jinder. This sucks. This felt like a Vince move, right? This felt like they're sticking it to us.
You could tell that was going to happen, though. The former because they said former WWE champion not on the roster. Jinder was on the roster. That was definitely a fake. If they would have only provided Jinder, there would have been uproar because they said not on the roster.
Well,
Jinder is on the roster.
So they had me for a bit, but then when Jinder came out, I was like, come on, really? But then Jinder started talking, and he started saying bad things about America, and I was like, well, this isn't just going to stand. Somebody's going to come out and stop him for saying all these mean things about USA, right?
Right.
Because that, no one has ever done a promo where you come out as a guy, they advertise somebody cool, it's Jinder, he comes out, berates America, and then leaves unharmed. That's not wrestling. That's not what they're going to do, right? Somebody's going to come out and harm him for berating America. It was just a question of who. But then when the pa-pa-pa, if you smell, I was like, what? That was crazy. When The Rock came out, the whole place went nuts. You buy a ticket for Raw, you do not expect a surprise Rock segment where he not only shows up, he cuts a long promo making fun of Jinder Mahal, which is fun, and then he, hits Jinder with a couple of moves, gives him the people's elbow. No rock bottom. Got to wait for the pay-per-view for the rock bottom, I guess. Right? What was that? No rock bottom.
Well, you got the Pine Buster. All you need was the Pine Buster, people's elbow. That's all you need.
You
that
call
was
it
a finish too.
Pine Buster?
Isn't it spine on the pine? Isn't that the?
Is that what he calls it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. The spine buster of The Rock, the Dwayne Buster, and then the people's elbow where he got his leg barely off the ground. That was not the best people's elbow. He's looking a little stiff.
He's a very muscular guy.
Yeah, he's over muscular. Yeah. Anyways, so he does that, and it's super cool. And then he says the thing about head of the table, and you go, oh, man, that wasn't just a Rock appearance. That was a Rock appearance with a purpose. That was The Rock saying, Roman Reigns, I'm coming for you. And you got to figure WrestleMania. And I know there's people out there that are like, it's going to be the Elimination Chamber. I go, why? Why would you do the biggest match of all time at the Elimination Chamber instead of the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania, especially when Elimination Chamber is going to be in Australia and is going to start at 4:30 a.m. New York time, which is also our time, Eastern time. I don't think that makes sense. You can't waste The Rock on that type of show when most of your audience won't be watching.
Well, you could have him on the show. I disagree. I wouldn't have that match on the show. If The Rock has to win the Elimination Chamber to get to WrestleMania, sure. That makes sense. I don't mind that. That's a great idea. But yeah, Rock and Roman, that is definitely, to me, the main event of WrestleMania. I know like you said, some people said that it should be at Elimination Chamber or even do it at the Rumble, which is also extremely ridiculous. No, that's the big match. Just because you want Cody in a match you've already seen last year again, doesn't mean that's the big match. The big match is the match we've been dying for years now, and that's what we want to see. Cody can beat Roman, it just doesn't have to be this year.
Yeah, it could be this year. It just shouldn't be at WrestleMania. It could be after Mania.
Fine, whatever, yeah.
Backlash in France? Whatever.
Maybe SummerSlam or something, but yeah, okay.
Money in the Bank in Toronto. Whatever you want to do. Cash in on Roman at Money in the Bank. That'd be a good way to get the belt off Roman, right? A cash in. Probably the smartest way to do it.
That's terrible way.
Keep him strong, brother.
After all this, he's just got to, like, even with the 4-way now, we have the Rumble. Like, you can't just pin somebody else and that ends Roman's reign. It can't be cheap like that. Roman has to lose, like, straight up. It has to be done like that.
He better not lose before the WrestleMania match with Rock, though, right? I mean, people are saying he should drop the belt and it should be non-title and Cody should wrestle for the belt or something. Like, no. Roman should stay champion. So much of the character of Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, is based on him being this long-reigning champion. That should continue to WrestleMania, where he should wrestle The Rock, beat The Rock, and The Rock should acknowledge him as the Tribal Chief. Once and for all. And this time, when The Rock raises up Roman's hand and points to him, the crowd will cheer. Unlike when he did it at the Royal Rumble years ago. Like, they could flash back. They could do that again. Same thing, same pose after the match. Boom, points to him. And the crowd will cheer for Roman.
Well, it was in Philly when that happened, and it will be in Philly again.
Right.
So I wonder.
Wow.
I don't know about that, though.
Oh, I think they will. It's the Tribal Chief.
It's Philadelphia, though.
Everybody acknowledges the Tribal Chief at this point, John. Come on.
I don't know, because, like, Philadelphia was, that's mainly that ECW crowd that lives in Philadelphia. I know a lot of them probably don't watch wrestling anymore, but some of them probably still do. And I think a lot of people in Philadelphia have that kind of feeling about wrestling. So I just feel they're just going to boo on everything, which is what Philadelphia does a lot.
We'll see. We'll see what the crowd reaction will be like at WrestleMania, but whatever. I think Roman Rock is the move. Roman wins, and then who knows what you do with the championship after that. Maybe Cody takes it. Maybe LA Knight takes it. Maybe somebody else takes it. Maybe CM Punk takes it. Who knows? A lot of options.
Well, personally, like, I feel put Cody in the World Heavyweight title match. I think that would make it far more interesting. Punk versus Seth versus Cody. Because to me, Punk versus Seth, that's not a great matchup in terms of styles. I think you throw Cody in there, that'd be a better match. Cody's a good mix of both styles.
Okay. How do you do that if Punk wins the Royal Rumble?
It's a great question. I mean, you could do the whole Rumble thing like we did with Bret and Luger. That'd be fantastic because we think it's going to come down to Cody and Punk, right?
How did they do it when Edge won the Rumble and then Bryan found his way into the Roman Reigns match at Mania?
Because Bryan won the Chamber, right?
Yeah.
And then
Edge just allowed it, or?
Well, no, because then Roman was like, okay, you're going to title shot, but it has to be right now kind of thing, And Bryan, being dumb, accepted it. And then people were like, oh, that shouldn't have been right. And that's why he got thrown in there eventually.
I mean, there are ways to do it. There are ways for Punk to win the Rumble and Cody to find his way into the match with Seth, but it's kind of, I don't know. I don't disagree. I think that match would be cool. I think it would be cool.
Yeah, it would be. There's many different ways WrestleMania can shape up right now.
What do you do with Randy then? What do you do with LA Knight?
Great question.
I
think LA, because Kevin Owens is getting this shot against Logan Paul at the Rumble, I think you do LA Knight against Logan Paul at WrestleMania. And that's LA Knight's moment is winning the U.S. title off Logan Paul.
Okay. It's not bad. I'd take that. What does Kevin get? Randy?
Well, let's face it with Kevin here. I like Kevin a lot, but Kevin's had a lot of tremendous WrestleMania moments recently. I mean, main evented the last 2 WrestleManias back to back. So
that's true.
I think he could take a little bit of a step back this year. As much as, it's great for you. He always gets great moments, but maybe this year, maybe not so much. I mean, you got Austin main event, then you got to win the tag titles the next year. It's going to be a bit of a step back. It's going to happen. Exactly. It's going to be a bit of a step back. It has to happen at this point. Give someone else a chance.
I guess. I think he's still going to be involved in something meaningful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. But Randy Orton is a big question, too. Where does he fit into everything?
It's a great question. Well, again, that four-way is going to help explain a lot because I could see it easily being Roman versus Randy at the Elimination Chamber because Randy's still not getting that one-on-one match yet.
Yeah. I don't know when Roman Randy will happen, if it will even happen at this point. I thought it was going to be Roman Randy at the Royal Rumble, but tonight we have the triple threat where the winner got the shot at Roman at the Rumble. This was the main event of SmackDown. Randy hits the RKO on AJ Styles, but LA Knight pulled the ref out of the ring, which prompted Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso to all come out and attack everyone. They didn't really need a ref bump to do that, though, because it's a triple threat. It's no DQ. And also, the match never technically ended. Just because there's interference, I don't think the match should necessarily end. I didn't hear a bell. But anyhow. Roman and Jimmy and Solo just beat up everybody. They beat up Randy and AJ and LA Knight, and they hit them with spears and Superman punches and the Samoan spike and all sorts of stuff to those guys. All the baby faces took a beating, and Roman celebrated, and then Nick Aldis walks over to Heyman, and not on a microphone, just kind of on camera says, congratulations, tell Roman congratulations because he's just earned himself a fatal four-way match at the Royal Rumble against those three guys. So it's going to be Roman versus LA Knight versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles in a fatal four-way at the Royal Rumble for Roman's belt. I don't think Roman will lose the match at all. He'll walk away still champion to go and face The Rock at WrestleMania. You would hope. It was a non-finish. But again, John, technically, you know what I'm saying? Technically, triple threat matches, it's no rules. So people could come in and out and attack. Right?
Right. I get that, but the thing is that the TV time ran out, right? So technically the match just ends because there was no more time left, right?
Do they have TV time limits? Is that how SmackDown works now?
That's how wrestling works. I don't know if WWE applies the wrestling logic anymore.
Doesn't work in AEW. AEW is always like, we're going to keep going with this match. We're going to stay on TV forever if we have to.
That's what they do. They state that, though. But SmackDown, they were out of time, so technically the match ends in a draw.
Yes.
Because it just ended. The show ended.
All right. Well, I want to give a shout-out to some of our members who joined over at join.ringsidereport.net, watching us live right now. Jason Pete out in Mexico, our friend Leor out in New Brunswick, Jimmy James, Franco316. I saw Angelo Contagonis out in Laval. So shout-out to everybody tuning in here live, all the members, and even Christopsy wanted me to acknowledge him, so you are acknowledged, Christopsy. Jimmy James wants you to do a run-in to help The Rock, Johnny.
Why would I help The Rock? Exactly. I'm not friends with The Rock.
That's right. What's The Rock ever done for you, brother? I think it's fantastic what the WWE has going. Whatever they do with Punk. I know people want Cody to have a spot, but I could see Cody not being in the World Heavyweight title match and just wrestling Randy.
Yeah, that's good. It's not bad.
I feel like that's a better fit. I kind of want to see Punk and Seth really just go at it promo-wise and have a feud one-on-one. I don't know if you need Cody added into that. But if they do, I won't be mad at it, Whatever they choose, I think is fine. But I'd like to see Punk and Seth one-on-one. I'd prefer that.
But to me, that's a lot of one-on-one matches already that you're suggesting right there. Because you want Roman and The Rock one-on-one, Seth and Punk one-on-one, Cody and Randy one-on-one. I mean, Logan Paul's getting a one-on-one match more than likely, right?
Right.
Women's title matches are going to be 1-1, more than likely.
Not necessarily.
I think Rhea, for sure, will get a 1-1, I think.
Rhea Becky?
That's what, I mean, I don't know about you. I think Becky's winning the Rumble now.
Yeah. I think, has she won the Rumble yet?
Well, of course, the Rumble has, I mean, you mean ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has won the Rumble before.
She's
but
won
I
it
think
before.
she's probably going to, I think she's going to be the first one to win, too.
Okay. Yeah, the Women's Rumble, I'm not so sure. I could see it being Becky. Bianca says she's going to win for the second time. I could see that.
I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that.
I'm not sure.
Because the Kabuki were winning the tag team titles. That's why they gave it to Katana and Carter, right? Was just to give it to Kabuki eventually.
Okay.
And that's what's going to be the match of Mania. I think it was supposed to be Bianca and Charlotte against the Kabuki Warriors, but Bianca's going to have to get another partner. Who will that be is a good question.
Yeah. Shotzi?
I mean, that's, makes sense in terms of the story now. But if you have someone come in, possibly, maybe you do that instead. Jade makes a lot of sense, I think. That'd be kind of cool.
Jade at WrestleMania. There's rumors of Trinity,
right,
formerly Naomi, coming back to WWE. She's a possibility.
That would work.
Right?
That'd be pretty good too, yeah. Whatever Sasha Banks decides to do, it seems like she's going to be somewhere, so that's an idea.
It looks like AEW. That's what Fightful seems to be reporting, is that AEW is a likely landing spot for Sasha Banks, which is really good for AEW.
Well, they already got Purrazzo this week, so yeah. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
They're building up their division. That's good. That's what they need to do.
What about Bayley winning the Rumble? Leor says, is it too early for Bayley versus Io? I was thinking that too. You think maybe Bayley wins the Rumble and challenges Io?
I lost a lot of faith in that just watching SmackDown this week because I found Io is a horrific heel. Like, she is terrible as a heel. Like, she doesn't wrestle like a heel whatsoever. All she just does is cool move after cool move after cool move. How is she a heel exactly? Just because she's with the heel group? She doesn't wrestle like a heel whatsoever. Terrible heel.
It didn't help that they weren't with her for her match against Michin, that she just won clean tonight. Right? She does a bunch of cool moves and then she just wins without any help from her evil friends.
And you're going to have Bayley as the face? Bayley is the least likable out of all of them. And she's going to be the baby face?
But they kind of mistreat Bayley. Like they're like, yeah, Bayley, like they did the promo tonight after Io won. And Bianca comes in and she's like, oh, because they said they had a plan, right? The Kabuki Warriors, which is Asuka and Kairi, they're going to become tag team champions. Io is going to be champion forever, and Bayley was going to win the Royal Rumble. And then Bianca Belair comes out, and she's like, hey, actually, I'm winning the Rumble, so how do you like me now? And then she walks away. That's not an exact quote, but you get the gist of the promo. And then Bayley is like, and then Io says something in Japanese, and then Dakota, who probably doesn't even speak Japanese, goes, Io says, Bayley, you're the leader. You got to deal with this Bianca problem. And now Bayley has to wrestle Bianca next week on SmackDown. So they're kind of like, they're mistreating Bayley. There's always that aspect of Damage Control where Bayley feels like maybe they're about to turn on her. She's about to get kicked out of the group, right? Like, that's been a running story in this group for a long time. And if they end it with Bayley wins the Rumble, and I think it would be for the first time, Bayley has still not won a Royal Rumble. She may be, Sasha never won one, right?
No.
But Becky's won, Charlotte's won. Like, it's kind of Bayley's turn to win one. She deserves one, I think, at some point. And this Damage Control story, especially when we're looking back on 2023, man, it's the biggest thing going in the women's division. It's the only real long-term story that they have going consistently. It's been Damage Control, the inner strife, and then their beef with Bianca Belair that's lasted for most of 2023. So I think Bayley wins the Rumble. Bayley challenges Io because she doesn't want to challenge Rhea for whatever reason, because she's sick of Io treating her like whatever, or Damage Control does something mean to Bayley, and Bayley says, you know what, I'm challenging Io because I think I can beat her, and I'm the leader, I should be the champion. And then they all turn on Bayley, and Bayley's a babyface again. I think you could easily do that, and I'll tell you what, John, I think that's where they're going. I feel like Bayley is maybe my pick to win the Royal Rumble, the Women's Rumble. I actually hadn't given it much thought. I thought I really, I was kind of at a loss about who it could have been, but Bayley makes a lot of sense. I'm convincing myself right now. Have I convinced you?
No, because I felt that way beforehand, but after this week, I'm like, this is the worst idea in the world. Like, I definitely don't want to see this happen now. And it's not because, like, I don't think Bayley would be great as a champion, and it's not a bad story idea, but it felt like when Charlotte got hurt, a lot of things got changed, and it felt like the direction changed a little bit. I could easily see it being Bianca and Bayley against the Kabuki Warriors. They could go in that direction as well. And they could still do Bayley versus Io. Bayley doesn't have to win the Rumble, because you know what they do? It's like, if Raw wins, then SmackDown gets the chamber, right?
Yeah.
So that could easily happen as well. I could easily see Bayley versus Io. That might happen. I just don't see Bayley right now winning the Rumble. Her not winning the Rumble might cause the rift, I think, now for Damage Control.
Maybe. I'd kind of rather see Bayley win than Becky win. I want Bayley to get one rather than Becky have a second. There have been so few women's Rumbles. Like, really? You're going to go back to somebody you already given it to already?
Because it
feels
Becky,
unnecessary.
But it's Becky. That's kind of the way I look at it like that.
No, I get it. It's Becky.
Going back on that promo, like, that was absolutely ridiculous. How Bianca goes up to them 5-on-1, talking to them right to their face, and turns her back to them. The fact that nobody beat the crap out of her was so stupid. Like, one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. But that's WWE backstage logic. Let's just throw any semblance of a fight whatsoever, or the fact that you have any conflict.
Let me offer a counterpoint to you, John. Not every verbal interaction has to end in a physical confrontation. Just because it's wrestling and it happens a lot doesn't mean everybody at all times has to be just fighting each other, acting like complete animals. Like, you could just be like, because Bianca even said, like, I'm not here to fight. I just want to say some things to you. And they're like, all right, beat you up later. I mean, they have opportunities to beat her up. They're going to do wrestling matches. Bayley's going to wrestle Bianca next week on SmackDown. All of Damage Control could come out and just beat up Bianca if they want to. In the ring, when it's more appropriate. I mean, I'm just saying. I get what you mean, but
I just feel when you turn your back on somebody like that, especially when it's 5-on-1, that's the ultimate slap in the face right there. Like, you almost have to beat the crap out of them, because it's disrespectful to do that.
All right. I mean, it is what it is. So we got different opinions so far on who's going to win the Women's Rumble, which is coming up, right? The Royal Rumble is...
a couple weeks.
They got 3 more weeks of TV. 3 more weeks of TV. Yeah.
Lots of time.
Yeah.
More injuries can happen.
I hope they don't.
It happens.
Charlotte is hurt. She's going to be out for most of the year. She'll probably be back sometime in the fall. Knee injury. Had surgery. She's out. I didn't see a video.
Like, apparently today was her first day moving her knee again.
Oh.
So that was like, wow. That was, triumphant, but also sad as well. Just the ability to move your knee. Like, you take things for granted in a sense, what you could do, and then the next minute you can't. Sad.
Yeah, injuries are horrible. Injuries suck big time. I've dealt with injuries too. I never had surgery for anything, thankfully, but I've broken things, sprained things, whatever, and it sucks, man, when you're not able to walk around and do the things you can normally do. You got to walk around on crutches or whatever. It sucks. And then for her, there's all sorts of rehab she's going to have to do and physical therapy to get back to normal. Yeah, I definitely feel for Charlotte Flair, but hopefully she remembers that at the end of the road, when she is 100%, she comes back to being the superstar that she is, the legend of professional wrestling that she's already become, and she'll come back probably to another championship run because she is that great. She's Charlotte Flair, the queen. And, it's disappointing that we don't see her at WrestleMania. Thankfully, the WWE has an abundance of star power that they'll be all right, but it would be good to have Charlotte on the show. Paul Heyman did talk about The Rock. He says that The Rock wants to sit at the head of the table, but he needs to be invited to the dinner of relevancy. But he has not been invited, and he never will be invited. So Heyman there shutting down any hopes of Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, even though, we know the truth. He talked about how everybody wants to be relevant and call out Roman Reigns, and Cena did it, and Cody did it, and Brock did it, and Punk is maybe thinking about doing it. But it doesn't matter who does it because they're all going to be smashed by the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. I thought it was a very good promo from Heyman. I liked it. Made a statement. Talked about The Rock. Mentioned CM Punk. It was one of the more enjoyable Heyman promos that I've seen in a while. I really liked it.
Well, I liked the fact that it just got to the point right away. We didn't have to have entrances.
Yeah.
There wasn't a long thing about, this is the table, this is the tribal chief kind of thing. It was just Paul Heyman backstage. Like, I believe the announcers were talking to him, asking him the questions. Like, we didn't have an interview or anything. She got right to the point right away. That was great because, obviously Heyman can say a lot, and he did, but we didn't have to wait like 10 minutes just for him to start talking.
Yes, it was succinct. He said a lot in not too much time. The announcers threw to him with a question. They didn't answer any more questions. He did his monologue. He said a lot. He mentioned a lot of names, and he set the tone for what The Rock and Roman Reigns is going to be, and I think it was very good. It was really effective stuff tonight on SmackDown from Paul Heyman, and it shows you, 2 minutes. 2 minutes of talking can do a lot in pro wrestling, as long as you're saying the right things. As long as you have the right material, as long as you have the right people in place, you could do a whole lot with 2 minutes, and I think Paul Heyman did that. What does JR always say? Maximize your minutes, kid. Paul Heyman did that, which, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at the wrestling promos. He's on the list of top wrestling promos. Tyler Bate and Booch beat Pretty Deadly tonight. Booch needed a tag team partner, and we thought it'd be Sheamus or Ridge Holland, but those guys are not around. And Tyler Bate from NXT, his old friend, he is around apparently, and they beat Pretty Deadly on SmackDown. Tyler Bate, John. New stars on SmackDown tonight. Tyler Bate and the Authors of Pain.
Well, I thought Tyler did fine. I think the crowd didn't really know much about him. They didn't seem to care. If you weren't a well-known star, the crowd really did not seem to care whatsoever, regardless that it was sold out, 13,000. You need to be known. If you're not known, then no one's really going to care. You can be a great wrestler. No one's going to care about your wrestling whatsoever because you're not known.
That's right.
So that was too bad. But
my God, were they ever hot for that main event, right? Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles. Crowd was hot for that because that's real wrestling with real stars. I was watching that match going, my God, I sat through this whole show, and now I look at this professional wrestling match. This is AJ Styles and and you got L.A. Knight in there and Randy Orton. Look at these are real professional wrestlers. Charles Robinson was the referee. I was like, yeah, this is what I came to see. Roman Reigns interfering. Crowd was hot for that. But yeah, when big strong boy Tyler Bate came out, crowd did not seem to care. Not at all.
Well, again,
Authors of
great
Pain
wrestler,
too.
but
Like, not much of a pop for Authors of Pain, even though I think they're from BC, aren't they? Like, one of them is from BC. It was in Vancouver tonight.
I think Razor is, not Torka or whatever his name is.
Right. Toka and Razar. I think that's from Ninja Turtles, John.
It is, but I thought we established that was going to be the name from now
That is their name, Toka and Razar, because it's Razar and Akam. Akam is from Abbotsford, British Columbia. He's from BC. So he made his return in his home province, not quite hometown, but close, and crowd did not seem to care or pop for him at all. They gave more of that old Canadian pop for Kevin Owens than they gave for their own British Columbian Akam, or Toka, as we call him. Toka and Razar. Toka is from British Columbia, John.
But I'm sure a lot of the people there probably didn't even know that because they don't put that over in WWE. So WWE doesn't put it over, they have no idea. Maybe I'm sure he had some friends and family, they popped, but 13,000, it didn't really seem that loud though, sadly.
I'm kind of surprised I know that. How did I know one of the Authors of Pain was from British Columbia? That's a weird
I feel
one.
one of them didn't interview one time and mentioned they were Canadian, I think. It must have been him, obviously.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because the other one is from the Netherlands, I believe. Anyhow, they were there with Karrion Kross, and they're a new group. They attacked Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, who came out and did a promo. And Bobby Lashley,
I thought it was kind of amazing that Paul Ellering came back with them too. I didn't think that would happen. I'm glad that happened. That was cool
Paul
to see
Ellering
him.
was there with Scarlett. It's a group of 3 men with 2 managers.
You rarely see that. It's very rare.
It's a little much. Bobby Lashley says 2023 was the hardest year of his career, but not because he didn't put in the work. Bobby Lashley says he put in the work, but, quote, it didn't translate into the results I wish I wanted.
That's being politically correct by saying Bray Wyatt wasn't ready for WrestleMania. No. He didn't want to say why.
No, John, that statement makes no sense. It didn't translate into the results I wish I wanted?
He's trying to be nice.
But that doesn't make sense, John.
Right.
The results I wish I wanted, he means the results I wanted. Or the results that I wished for. Not the results I wish I wanted, because the results he wishes that he wants is not what he actually wants.
Right.
And this is why Bobby Lashley can't cut a promo, because he comes out and says ridiculous stuff like this. This is why Bobby Lashley has never evolved past the level of where he is, because when he comes out, he cannot deliver the line. It didn't translate. I couldn't believe he said that. I was like, what? What are you saying, man? Like, he just can't get it out. It didn't translate into the results I wish I wanted. So what? What is he saying?
Again, though, like he's
I know what
you're
trying to say. You're trying to make sense of what Roberto said. But what I'm telling you is, when you say it didn't translate into the results I wish I wanted. So it didn't translate into the results that I really wish that I wanted. I wish I wanted the results that this could have translated to, but I want bad results, which is what I got. That is kind of what he's saying. And I understood what he meant, but he just can't get the words out. And he doesn't have that gift of gab, and he doesn't have that promo ability. and he looks like $1 million, and he can wrestle, and he's got everything going for him. But because that promo's never been there, like you'd never make a list of top promos in the history of wrestling and put Bobby Lashley anywhere near it. Never.
I don't disagree with that. However, the crowd was still very much into Bobby because, again, he's over with the people.
Yeah.
And he can almost say, like he kind of said gibberish in a sense.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter because he's over, so they'll still cheer his name.
Yes. The fans were very happy to see Bobby. When Montez said, "Listen to Bobby," the fans were like, "Bobby, Bobby." And I was like, yeah, listen to Bobby. Listen to what Bobby's saying. It makes no sense. It was great. Comes out, looks amazing, starts talking, and you go, damn. Too bad.
Well, that's why it was great when MVP was there.
Yeah, that's it. He always needs a manager, and now he's like the mouthpiece for this group. And I could see Angelo Dawkins, when Bobby's delivering that line, go, like what?
Oh, I'm sure they had a laugh about it backstage afterwards.
Yeah. So you wish you wanted good results, Bobby. What do you actually want? Why don't you just want the things that you wish you want? It's pretty easy to do. You just want them. Man, I wish I wanted $10 billion, but I only want about $5. Like, what? It makes no sense. Bobby Lashley. Remember when Brock was doing that? Bobby Lashley.
Yeah,
just like in his face, saying his name. Oh, that was good. You think Brock's going to be at WrestleMania?
To me, like him and Gunther, like that's a great match. Why not? I mean, if you're going to have Brock, you put him in that match. However, I could see Gunther being another match because, I mean, there's definitely enough stars they have. They don't need to bring back Brock. But that is a match for Brock to bring him back in.
Do you think Brock cares about losing to Gunther? If that is the plan, which you kind of figure it might be, I think that would be.
I think he'd win.
You think he'd win and become Intercontinental Champion? He would end Gunther's record-breaking run?
Yep. Yeah, I definitely think that would happen.
Why?
Because who else? And it makes sense. It's like, out of all the guys to finally do it, it took Brock to finally do it.
Because then it just puts Gunther beneath Brock and a bunch of guys that Gunther beat beneath Brock again.
It's not bad to like, I lost to Brock, Like, if anything, it's like it took Brock for my streak to finally end kind of thing. If anything, that's going to elevate him more. That, that's a devastating loss, but he can come back from that and be elevated to the main event scene off that, I think.
If it leads to a rematch where he beats Brock, I'm okay with it. But if it's just one off and they just kill Gunther off having lost to Brock, I don't think that's very good. I don't think that does him many favors going forward.
It won't be a kill-off, that's for sure. Like, I'm not saying he's going to get a rematch. He probably won't get a rematch right away.
It hurts him right now.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would hurt Brock. I think it would hurt Gunther to lose to Brock because other people on the roster have defeated Brock, and no one really on the roster has defeated Gunther. Gunther has the air of invincibility. Cody beat Brock. Big deal.
Okay, but that might be like the only guy currently on the roster.
Roman.
Okay. Roman.
Seth.
Drew.
Look at all these guys, man. So many guys beat Brock. Drew McIntyre. You shouldn't be on the same level as Drew McIntyre if you're Gunther, and the WWE should be trying to position him higher than that because he's got this undefeated streak. He's crushing everybody. He's got great matches. He's got a great persona. He's got charisma. He can cut a promo. He's gigantic. He's believable. He's everything you want in a future megastar for the WWE. And I think he's under 40. So what are we doing? No, I think he beats Brock.
You know
who's not under 40? Brock.
Yeah, but Brock is still amazing for, like, given the fact that he is over 40. Like, He's probably even better now. Probably helps too that he doesn't have to wrestle that much. That helps him a lot, I think.
Gunther's 36.
Well, he's great, and I think you could definitely make him make the move for the world title scene now after this. I think now's the time for it, no?
Yep.
So,
But I think beating Brock would be a good way to do it. Good way to start that train.
He's established. He doesn't need to beat Brock. If anything, you got to get the title off him.
Oh, I hope
Brock's
they do this match.
Opponent.
I hope they do this match and Gunther beats Brock, John, just to see your tears.
I wouldn't be devastated. I'm just saying it makes sense for him to lose to Brock.
The results I wish I wanted. Yeah. I don't know. I think Gunther should win. Gunther, I'm a big Gunther man. You know? I'm a Gunther backer. I love the big Gunther.
If anything, this will help him. Like, sometimes big losses help you in the end. Look at Sami Zayn losing to Johnny Knoxville. I thought that was the dumbest thing in the world, but he turned that around.
Yeah, but that was mostly through his own sheer will of pushing the WWE to do the right thing with him.
That's the cream rises to the top kind of thing. Like, that's what happened. But it just goes to show you, like, he can make something that was absolutely terrible, and he made it okay to watch, and then he went on to better things, too. That could have buried a lot of people, but it didn't bury him.
I feel like Sami Zayn gets such a raw deal in WWE because he works tremendously hard to get something new going. It gets over, it gets to the top, and then they're like, cool, do it again. And then they're like, back to the bottom, start again. And they just keep doing it to him. And they're doing it to him again. Like, we haven't talked about anything. What's Sami Zayn doing for WrestleMania? Where's Sami Zayn? This time last year, he was a major figure. It was a big deal. Going into Chamber, like, he main evented that against Roman Reigns. Now, you know, at least Kevin Owens, he's got a U.S. title match against Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble. What's Sami doing? Are he and Jey Uso gonna challenge for the tag team titles? Are they gonna win them?
No.
Does that matter? What's Jey Uso doing?
Well, he's gonna wrestle Jimmy, right? At WrestleMania, that's the plan.
Right, that makes sense. So what, is Sami just in Jay's corner?
Maybe you gotta start thinking here in terms of Sami. Like, he's done a lot in his career, like, overall. You got to wonder how much longer he has left in wrestling. He's
still young, man.
He's young, but he's done a lot, though.
He's like in his 30s.
I think there's a lot of late 30s.
Maybe 40s?
Close.
Maybe very close. Just 40, yeah. I don't know.
Very close. So I feel like it's great they're giving him a break now.
He's 39.
You want to definitely you want to keep him as long as you possibly can. I wouldn't overkill him. I think they have definitely the last year or so. Push him like crazy.
He's 39, all right, John? That's not 40, just to be clear.
But the wear and tear
39 is not 40.
Really bad.
38 is not 40. Just so we're clear, John, okay? So you know.
For people you know, okay, no problem. But again, he's done a lot in his career. And it's good that he's getting a break. Love to see him still get a push. You know, again, there's bias there a bit, but like Kevin, I see him getting maybe a push back aside for Mania because he did have a great moment last year.
Can he and Kevin challenge for the tag titles at Mania?
That's a cool match. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win, though, but yeah. That's definitely not going to main event a WrestleMania this year.
No, but just do it.
So this is a good idea, actually, yeah.
I think they could win because Damian Priest is one half of the tag champs. I don't know if they drop it before Mania. Maybe they do, but maybe they don't. And maybe Damian Priest wrestles Sami and Kevin with Finn. That's their match. And Sami and Kevin win the tag belts. And who cares if they're on different brands because the tag champs are unified so they could go on both shows. And then you bring Sammy and Kevin back as a tag team, which I think would be kind of fun and something for them to do at WrestleMania, certainly. And then Damian Priest, I think, should be dropping the tag belts at WrestleMania because I think he's going to walk out of WrestleMania World Heavyweight Champion, cashing in the Money in the Bank on Seth Rollins or CM Punk or whoever in that match. Right?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Definitely could see that happen. I just wonder if they'll give it to Kevin and Sammy because I could definitely see like a multi-man match for the tag titles. Street Profits mentioned Judgment Day. I feel other tag teams like the Creed Brothers really pushing that, I think, on Raw. So I feel they might do a multi-man, I think, for the tag titles.
Mm-hmm. Jason says Sammy versus Gunther WrestleMania. That would be cool. I could see that.
That'd be cool. I wish they didn't, they went through those matches too quick, just on random Raws, like Sammy versus Gunther, Kevin versus Gunther.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been built up to something, but they just gave it away on Raw for, I don't know why. They just decided to throw those away. They were tag champs, too. I didn't understand the reasoning for that, but, they were great matches, and that could still be a good match without question if they decide to go back to it.
They could. A lot of options. Kevin Owens beat Santos Escobar tonight after a stunner to get a U.S. title shot at Logan Paul, who was ringside, who was on commentary, and then cut a post-match promo talking about Canada because they were in Vancouver, and Kevin is Canadian, saying a Canadian could never be U.S. champion, and Kevin winning the title is like the Canucks winning the Stanley Cup. There's no chance, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Do the Canucks have a chance of winning the Stanley Cup, John? I don't follow hockey.
They got a great chance, actually. They're probably the best Canadian team right now. So that's why that got a lot of heat, because Vancouver Canucks are one of the best teams in the league.
Oh, well, good for them. I hope they do win the Stanley Cup and show Logan Paul who the real winners are. Kevin Owens then punched Logan Paul in the face and knocked him out with one punch, which was kind of cool because Logan Paul is the one.
Cast.
Oh, yeah, he's got the cast, right? But Logan Paul's the one who's been knocking people out with his punches. That's his whole gimmick. And now Kevin Owens does it to him in the build to the Royal Rumble match that I don't think Kevin will win. As we said before, we're expecting Logan to hold on to the U.S. title until WrestleMania, where he will drop it to LA Knight. And you said that, and I agree. I think that's a very likely destination for both guys. So I think Kevin will have a good match. Logan Paul will cheat to win and retain the U.S. title. Low blow, whatever. Take Kevin's cast off and hit him with a stairs or, whatever. Something.
Yeah.
Something mean and heelish.
Well, Logan's a great heel. There's no question about that. He knows his role and he plays it very, very well. So I'm not worried about that. I think it'll be a fantastic match. It might be the match of the Rumble because I think they're both very good. I thought Kevin and Escobar had the match of the night and the week in WWE. That was a fantastic match, incredible match. One of the best SmackDown matches I've actually seen in a while, it feels like. I don't feel like we've seen that high quality of wrestling on SmackDown in a while. That was just fantastic, start to finish.
It was very good. It was a very good match. Kevin was pulling out all his moves, right? Yep. He hit everything. It was great. Santos is a good opponent for him because he could pick him up,
Yep.
And he could do a lot of his power moves and he could do everything else with him. Like, Santos is a very solid wrestler. And, they had some good chemistry in there. Solid match.
There's a lot of a lot of give and take in that, like Santos can do a lot of high flying, Kevin can take a lot of the high flying stuff. So they were able to go back and forth with their styles and it meshed very, very well. I mean, to me, there was no better match this week in WWE than that match.
Yep. I think you're right. Kevin Owens is one of the top wrestlers in WWE, and he and Santos had an excellent match tonight on SmackDown. Coming up next week on SmackDown, they're advertising Bayley versus Bianca Belair, Cameron Grimes versus Grayson Waller, and Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. the LWO taking on Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, who are Santos Escobar's new goons, and they had a bit of a brawl during that Santos Kevin Owens match. So that's all being advertised for SmackDown next week. Where's Rey? Rey Mysterio. He was with the LWO ever since Santos kind of turned his back on the guys and got new goons. We haven't seen Rey in several weeks now.
He got knee surgery.
Another knee surgery?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. On his left knee?
I believe so, if not mistaken.
Oh, no. Yeah. I remember seeing that commercial so many times. You know, the don't try this at home. You know, I broke my neck, damn near broke my neck, blah-da-da. And I've had 6 surgeries in my left knee. Rey Mysterio saying that. I remember that quote. I've had 6 surgeries in my left knee. And now maybe 7 or 8 at this point. The commercial was a long time ago. I remember him saying that.
9.
6 surgeries in his left knee. And he was still flying around. This was like maybe 2005. You know what I'm saying? One of those like
2006.
Yeah, right? 6 surgeries in my left knee. And I'm like, damn, man. That sounds like you're pretty much done. And he's still going. And he just had another surgery in his left knee. That left knee is shot. How's he still walking around? He kept talking about retiring, right? And he just never did. Is he going to? Maybe he retires at Mania this year, if he can?
It might be next year's WrestleMania. It might be his last, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, we love Rey Mysterio. Hopefully he comes back and does whatever he wants, retires however he wants, is honored by the WWE because he deserves to be, because he is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. CM Punk will be back on Raw Monday night. That's it. They're just saying he's going to be there.
Finally.
Don't know why. Yeah, he's barely on the show. Kind of annoying.
That's disappointing. Very disappointing. I don't know about you. Like, we had what, like 3-4 Punk appearances so far on television?
Mm-hmm.
He's been back since, what, end of November?
Yep.
Very disappointing.
How come they didn't have him on Raw Monday? What are they doing?
Well, I get it. If you have The Rock, like, yeah, give The Rock his thing. You know, that's going to be a big thing. And you can make Punk the next. That's fine. But it's like,
I mean,
we shouldn't go weeks without him, though.
It's a 3-hour show. They could have had The Rock on hour 1 and Punk on hour 3, and I think we would have been all right.
Yes, but let's face it, it's not like that anymore. Like, they're going to spoil us with, like, greatness, you know. It's more of, like, you're going to have to sit through this. You'll get something great, and then that's the rest of the show. That's pretty much how Raw is now.
Yeah, I know. It's irritating. So Punk will be on Raw Monday. You'll be able to watch that. Skip through whatever they have before then. Watch Punk and then skip through the rest because that's what Raw is. Yeah. There's a few points that you like, and then you want to see Ronald Truth do his thing because he's great. That's what's going on in the WWE these days, Big Johnny. Did you watch AEW Dynamite?
I did.
Yes. Interesting
and
show.
You, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I watched it.
Not a fan, I guess. That's what it seems like.
I mean, there were some things that I liked, but overall, it felt very empty. It felt bare. And I know that Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson were in Japan because they had matches at Wrestle Kingdom. Kazuchika Okada and Bryan Danielson had an incredible match that Okada won. And Moxley wound up losing a... You're surprised?
I said I'm not surprised.
Oh, no, because Okada lost to Bryan at the Forbidden Door, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
So this was just the returning of the favor at Wrestle Kingdom, which is really cool. And Moxley and Ospreay lost on their way out to David Finlay in a triple threat. So those two guys, okay, they're not there. Kenny Omega is sick. He's not around. He's having health issues. Okay. Those 3 guys aren't around. The Young Bucks, I'm not really sure at this point. Maybe injuries. I don't know. I don't know where they are.
Wait and see.
Edge was not on this show.
That was a hellacious no DQ match. I could understand them giving him like a week off or something after that kind of match because that was
great.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, Christian was on the show.
He just talked though; he didn't wrestle.
Yeah, still, he was a top star on the show. On a show that felt like they were headed in new directions, and those new directions, quite frankly, did not excite me.
Okay.
And this is the first time where we kind of have a reset in AEW, and I go, I don't know if I'm feeling this reset. I don't know if, like, you know, there's always points in AEW's now 5-year history where you go, okay, that's the end of this era, and we're going to the next kind of chapter, and it's cool, and I like where they're going with this, and they're going with that. But I was watching Dynamite this week thinking, well, I like Swerve and Hangman. I like Christian. And that's kind of where it stopped. You know, and I think AEW's got some star power issues. And Adam Cole and his new group, the Undisputed Kingdom, started the show with a promo. And Cole says MJF is a narcissist, and he had his claws in AEW for too long, and they needed a change. And one day everyone will thank him because MJF is never coming back. And he turned on MJF before MJF could turn on him, of course, and da-da-da. MJF is never coming back. If that's true, that is devastating for AEW. This is a guy they need. Watching this show, I thought, oof, they really need an MJF segment. They really need Chris Jericho doing something. They really need a Kenny Omega match. They really need Bryan Danielson. A CM Punk would be nice right about now. They need something. But instead, we have Adam Cole cutting this promo. And then Jay White coming out, and he's mad because the goons there, Adam Cole has his group, which is comprised of Wardlow, Matt Taven, Roderick Strong, and Mike Kanellis. And
Right.
Jay White has been attacked by these goons in the past, so he's mad. And then, of course, Jay White's friends, the Guns, the Ass Boys, they come out. And they start brawling with Roderick Strong and Mike Kanellis and Matt Taven, but Wardlow comes back in the ring after helping Cole out of the ring because Cole's still in an ankle boot. He has a legit ankle injury, and he's not wrestling right now. So Wardlow, and they beat up the guys, right? They beat up the Golden... No, what are they called? The Bullet Club Gold?
Bullet Club Gold, yeah.
Right. Except Juice Robinson wasn't there. I don't know where he is.
He has a back injury. He might be out for like a year, they're saying now.
Well, that sucks. Good thing his wife is world champion, bringing in the big bucks for the family right now, right? Tony Storm.
I guess that's good. I mean, it sucks to...
Sucks for him.
A lot of injuries in AEW. It's really, if you had anything, that's probably hurting them the most right now. It's just the amount of injuries they have. We talk about star power.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the stars they have injured right now.
Yeah. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass came out to help Jay White and the Ass Boys because they also don't like the Undisputed Kingdom because they were attacked by them as well throughout the course of the months with MJF. Which is loosely explained to us, no video packages, we're just supposed to remember, which, thankfully, we're paying very close attention, so we do. I think some people might go, what? What's going on here? Anyhow, and then the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass face off with the Guns, and of course, they're the sons of Billy Gunn, and they're like, oh, should we join up to face these evil guys? And then Jay White's like, no, come with me, Guns. Don't go back to your father and the Acclaimed. So there's something there. And I don't care. None of it. I don't care about any of this. Adam Cole is mean now. Okay. Adam Cole got rid of MJF. He turned on his former best friend. Okay. And now MJF is gone and he's not going to come back and get revenge. That sucks. So what's Adam Cole doing now? Well, his goons that are Wardlow, Roderick Strong, who's now not doing the same gimmick anymore and is not as entertaining because he can't be in the wheelchair going, Adam, when he's like a goon standing up and just part of the crowd, right?
He still did Adam.
He can still say Adam, but, it's lost its flavor. And then you got Mike Kanellis and Matt Taven who, are just not over in any kind of way. And then there's the Acclaimed and the Guns and Jay White, and will they be friends, and are they going to babyface? Like, who cares? Who cares? None of it is interesting. Matt Taven and Mike Kanellis are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions now. Who cares? So that was a big chunk of the show right off the bat. That felt like a waste of time. That felt like I was watching NXT or Impact Wrestling or Ring of Honor or just, a show that has promos, that does wrestling, but it just doesn't have stars, doesn't really have the kind of high-level stuff that you're looking for. And like Angelo was saying, that group is not intimidating at all. Nobody really looks intimidating in the group. Wardlow is kind of big and intimidating looking, but they have them all covered up in those long black shirts and the black pants, so you can't really see how jacked Wardlow is. And the rest of the guys are really not imposing. Shout out to Harold Schneider for the super chat. Thank you, Harold. Good man, great supporter of the Ringside Report Network, my man. Harold Schneider says, keep it up, and we will, just for you. But, this is not good. None of this is good, John. It's going to take up a bunch of TV time, and I don't care about any of it.
Well, there's the promo like you skipped over that started the show, which was Samoa Joe. And I kind of liked how that played in to the whole Undisputed Kingdom story, is that he got them to take out Hangman and Page for him. So that leads me to believe that we're getting Samoa Joe versus Hangman for the title. And that's very intriguing, I think.
I guess. I don't think Joe should beat Hangman.
Why not?
Because Joe's like old and Hangman's like, the main guy, the protagonist of AEW. He's the one guy that showed up on my TV screen where I went, oh, star. Oh, look, it's Hangman. Hey, they still have him? Good for them. Samoa Joe is cool. I respect him. I like him as a wrestler. I'm a fan. But as a world champion in 2024 on mainstream big pro wrestling, no. Can't do it.
Wow. That's rough. Cold.
Why?
Cold.
Why? It's not 2010 anymore, man. It's just not. Like, I can't. Like, the WWE booked him a certain way for too long. It just. So when you see him now, it's like, yeah. All right. There's that freshness isn't there with Samoa Joe anymore. He's cool. I respect him. I like him. I'm happy they've given him a shot as the world champion. But to go off and have a run where he beats guys like Hangman or Swerve, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're taking a guy who's going to be around for maybe 3 to 5 years max and having him beat guys that are your future. No, well, I don't accept that. I don't like it at all. I really don't like it. They can't do that. They can't have him beat Hangman. They can't have him beat Swerve. He should drop the belt immediately. He
Whoa,
won.
rough.
He beat MJF. It's time to drop the belt. You can't have a pro wrestling show with Samoa Joe as the world champion in 2024. You can't. It looks B-League. I like him. I respect him as a wrestler. I don't want him as my world champion in AEW.
Like, I get what you're talking about with 2010, but in 2010, he couldn't get the promos that he can now. He's actually the best on the mic he's ever been right now.
So
that makes him more the complete package than he was before. Before, he was just like that killing machine kind of wrestler. But now he's the killing machine.
Yeah. If you are the world champion in AEW, I want you to be a guy that the fans can look at, that I can look at, and say, you know, if he was in WWE, he'd be a main eventer.
At one point, Joe was.
Kinda. I mean, a little bit.
Main event at SummerSlam.
He had, brushes with the main event, but he was up and down. He was up and down.
Right.
And he never won the world title.
It's too bad. But he had his chances, at least. Multiple chances.
When CM Punk was an AEW champion, I went, yup, that's a main eventer. When Jon Moxley was an AEW champion, I said, yup, that's a main eventer. When Chris Jericho was AEW champion, I said, yup, he's been WWE champion. When MJF was the AEW world champion, I said, yeah, he is the top guy in AEW. He is one of the hottest stars in wrestling. He would be a top guy in WWE. When, right. I mean, who else has been... Hangman Page, I believe, if he were to go to WWE, would be a major star over there and a main eventer, and they'd probably make him the champion at some point. Every AEW champion so far, unless I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing?
Jericho.
No, I said Jericho. I mean, he's a former champion in WWE. All of them. I think I said all of them. Times, yeah. Every world champion in AEW history so far has been a guy that's either been a WWE champion or you look at and you go, yeah, he'd be a WWE champion. Kenny Omega could be a WWE champion. At one time, everybody said he was the top wrestler in the business. If he would have gone to the WWE at a certain point in time, and maybe even now, he'd be a top guy in WWE and probably a champion. But Samoa Joe, we know. He's the first guy that's been AEW World Champion where we know. If he went to WWE, he'd have some big matches, but he wouldn't be the champion. He's the first WWE guy, ex-WWE guy, to become AEW World Champion that was never the WWE champion. And I think that makes AEW look like a B-League thing. This is a guy who was TNA champion, right? Top guy in TNA.
Right.
Not WWE, and now AEW World Champion. So where is this guy? Where is this guy a world champion? In the B leagues. When he goes to the A show, he's a star, but he's not a champion. And he is the first AEW world champion where that has been true.
But
tried, tested, and true. With the other guys that haven't been to WWE, you don't know. I could say they'd have been champion. They'd win the Rumble. You don't know for sure. Hangman, MJF, right. Kenny, we don't know for sure. But all the former WWE guys, Moxley, Punk, Jericho, they were at the top. They became the champion. And then they were AEW champion. Samoa Joe is the only guy who has not done that.
Yeah, but it's that way of thinking that
it's star power.
I get you, but by that way of thinking, though, that means like Swerve should never win the title then because he was low level in WWE. So you can't make him the champion because that makes the AEW look really, really bad if you make Swerve the champion by that logic.
I think because I think it's different, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because Swerve never really got any kind of opportunity in WWE. He was fired before he could get started. We never saw him in main event matches. We never saw him wrestle Roman Reigns. We don't know what would happen if he got... This Swerve, yeah, he was in Hit Row for like a minute, and then they fired the whole group. Or right. No, they fired him first, right? Or did he quit? Something happened weird.
All of them got canned.
And then all of them got fired, and then he signed to AEW, and the other ones didn't, and they brought back the other ones, and then they fired Top Dollar, and they still have two of them. One of them was on SmackDown tonight. Anyways. Swerve is a different story because the Swerve that we see now, big pressure Swerve, that Swerve, Prince Nana Swerve, exists only in AEW. This is a unique character. Samoa Joe, Samoan Submission Machine, this is the same guy I saw in TNA. It's the same. He hasn't changed. He's been given the opportunities in WWE. He got big matches. He wrestled Brock. He wrestled Roman. And, he never came out as a world champion. He was never a top guy in WWE. Whereas Swerve, he was never given a match with Roman. He was never given real opportunities. This is a new character. So if he becomes AEW world champion, it's like, yeah, look, AEW found this guy who's really awesome that WWE thought, maybe not. It's like Toni Storm. Toni Storm, she was a star. There was something there. WWE couldn't put it together. She left. She comes to AEW, and, now she's champion, and she's doing a great job as a uniquely AEW star. But Samoa Joe is the same character that we've always seen. And again, I sound like I'm bashing Samoa Joe, and I really don't want to, because I think Samoa Joe is a Hall of Famer everywhere. WWE Hall of Famer, Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. The guy is a living legend in professional wrestling. But I don't think he should be the AEW World Champion because of the perception of him being your top star, making your show look like a B League. I would prefer Edge as the World Champion, because Edge was a top star in WWE. If you're going to take a former WWE guy, he has to be a guy that they deemed worthy of their championship. Because, like it or not, it's the A show in the world of professional wrestling. And when you take a B guy and make him your A champion, you look like a B League. And AEW may be a B League, and we all may know that, but that should not be the perception that they're putting out to the wrestling world. And I think that is the perception among a lot of wrestling fans. If it's my perception, John, I can't be the only one.
No, I don't doubt that, but I feel that Joe winning the title wasn't exactly the plan. It's just MJF was hurt, and they had to get the title off him. They had to get all his titles off him. Mm-hmm. And Joe isn't a bad champion for the time being. Like, we talked about this when he won the title at the World's End post show, that it's not going to, I don't think it's going to be a long title reign, but I expect him to at least get spring, summer at least. Won't get to Wembley. Maybe he'll get to Wembley, but I don't think he'll make it to definitely the end of the year. It won't be an MJF reign. And but that means at least getting through a pay-per-view or two at least.
Maybe one or two. But I don't want to see him beat Hangman.
Well, who else then? You're talking about we need star power. He's got to wrestle a star, no?
I mean, it could be a triple threat. Swerve, Hangman, Joe at the next pay-per-view.
Okay. I'd take that. That's fine, yeah. That's
where
good.
He wins, but they don't really lose. They both kind of save face, Swerve and Hangman. I could see Joe retaining in something like that. But I would get the belt off Joe sooner rather than later because there are so many options that I think are better than Samoa Joe right now in AEW that would serve the company way better. Like I said, Edge, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, Darby Allin.
Right.
I think you have a lot of options in AEW outside of Samoa Joe, and I don't know, fine, give it to him now. It made sense in the moment, but I wouldn't give it to him for a long stretch of time.
I'm just saying, I agree that there's a lot of great options, but build towards that. Don't just, right away, a couple weeks build and then bam, title change. You have time with this. Let this grow over time, especially if it's going to be Swerve. It could be a triple threat match, like you said, eventually build up to a 1-on-1 match that he eventually wins. That could work out very, very well.
Who would be your pick to be next AEW champion? One guy.
It's funny. I'd actually go with Bryan Danielson. If it's going to be his last year, yeah, I'd probably go with Bryan Danielson. Because you got to think, too, the history with Samoa Joe as well. I think that plays in as well. That's a great rivalry you can revisit. That's kind of interesting. That it's once again comes full circle to the World Championship. I might take a lot out of Bryan, though, for those matches. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about his health already, so it might be kind of rough. But if he could survive, I think Bryan would be the best choice. I think Swerve's up there too.
Yes.
I just feel you don't want to give it to him right away. You want, again, build it up.
I don't know, man.
You don't need...
Right now, Swerve is so over. I am loving Swerve. Everything he does lately is just he's found it. Well, they figured out how to present Swerve. He's figured out how to present himself. The promos are working consistently. Swerve for a while, some promos were good, and then some other promos you're like, what's he doing? It seemed like he was trying some stuff that wasn't working, but he's found his groove right now in the promos. The matches have been fantastic. Everything with Swerve right now is working. And I would like him to be the AEW World Champion. I think he should be next. I think it's his time. Whose house? You see when Prince Nana said that on Dynamite, the whole crowd, Swerve's house. Man, they love this guy. And he's a heel. But my God, he is over.
They got to fix that.
I don't think they do.
That's a big thing.
I don't think they do. Keep him the way it is. Let the reactions be what they are. It's working. It's whatever it is, it works. The character, the persona, it's working. Let it sizzle. Fine,
but have them face heels. If you're going to get the babyface reactions, regardless of what you're doing, it's what happened with Austin. Eventually, it's just, you're going to face all the heels now because everyone treats you like a babyface. That's what happened. So they need to go that, and they got to kind of get rid of this Hangman thing because it's been kind of dragging now. 2 matches, and now we're getting another match.
Unless they are doing a triple threat, and triple threat booking, it's always good to have a heel, babyface, and a tweener. And Swerve could be that in between. Swerve's in between. He's a babyface. He's a heel that's getting cheered. Hangman's the babyface. Joe is the heel. You do a triple threat. You could do a good angle with that. And it does seem like they're kind of going in that direction. Swerve and Hangman both seem to want the world title. Swerve beats Daniel Garcia in the main event. Solid match. Swerve goes to shake Garcia's hand after the match, but Nana low blows Garcia from behind. Daddy Magic was on commentary and then went to help his buddy Garcia, but Swerve kicked him in the balls. And then Hangman comes out and starts fighting with Swerve. And then the refs and the security separate him. But Swerve was cutting a promo earlier in the night saying he wants a world title match with Samoa Joe. And I think Hangman does too. Hangman wants a piece of Swerve. I think there's there's a lot going there. I don't think you need to end Hangman and Swerve. I think you could tie it in with a world title and Samoa Joe. I would go with the triple threat for the pay-per-view. I think that's the best move. I'd rather that than Hangman versus Joe one-on-one. And I think you have to involve Swerve in all of this because he's beaten Hangman. So why would Hangman get the world title match when Swerve has beaten Hangman, twice in a row now? 3 times, maybe?
Yeah, but they're big on trilogy matches, right? So I could easily see them do Hangman Swerve again on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
1-1. They might do that. I could see it.
But then what's Joe doing?
Look, they have to get somebody else for Joe. We're
Bryan
only
Danielson?
January 5th here. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we're only January 5th. The pay-per-view is March 3rd, so
yeah,
a lot can happen now.
Yeah. It just felt like a show with not a lot of stars. We had Orange Cassidy wrestling Dante Martin, and Orange won. And I just didn't care. And then Private Party came back, and Mark Quinn has been injured for 3 years or something. Like, where's this guy been?
He's been hurt, but yeah, it's been a while.
I feel like at least a year. Anyways,
Over a year. Yeah.
They're back, and no one seemed to care or remember who they were. And quite frankly, I know who they were. I know who they are. I don't really care.
I like their song.
Anyways, they're there. It just feels like, okay, fine. Those guys are there. And then Toni Storm was interviewed backstage, and she didn't want to be in New Jersey. They were in Newark. So she left to go to Manhattan, where it's nicer. And then Mariah May was having her debut match, and she was disappointed that Toni wasn't there to watch her beat Queen Aminata, whoever that is. Never seen her before. Does she wrestle for AEW, Queen Aminata, or is she an indie wrestler? Like, is she on the roster?
You have seen her wrestle. We watched Rampage.
Oh.
She's been on Rampage a couple times. She did wrestle.
It did not ring a bell. Anyways, Mariah cut a promo after the match, and then Deonna Purrazzo shows up. She was in NXT for a while. She was in Impact as well. She was the Impact Knockouts champion. And she's from New Jersey, so she took offense at Toni Storm not wanting to be in New Jersey. And says, well, if Toni Storm doesn't want to be here, then we don't want her here. And then they slapped each other. And Deonna kicked Mariah pretty hard. And then Mariah rolled out of the ring. So I guess Deonna Purrazzo and Mariah May is a thing that will happen. And then possibly Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm, which I think some people are excited about. Deonna Purrazzo is somebody I've heard of. I've seen her wrestle. I think she's a good, solid addition to the AEW women's division, but I don't think she moves the needle. When she came out, even in her home state, it didn't feel like a huge pop.
No, I get you with that. I think not everyone watches TNA or Impact, so that's probably why. And it's been a while since she was in NXT, so people have probably forgotten, sadly. But yeah, like, she's a good wrestler. It just, can her character get over, kind of thing. That's the big question right now, because Toni Storm is the most over thing in the women's division. I think that's a big ask right away. I wouldn't rush that match right away. I build towards it, but I wouldn't do it next pay-per-view.
Well, she can go through Mariah May.
I would do that for the pay-per-view, but they don't do that kind of stuff. They only do like title matches for the pay-per-view for the women.
Yeah, they rush it. They rush things too.
So it's too bad. We'll wait and see. Like, she's got time to get over. They'll give her a chance, but it's tough. I felt like her voice was cracking a lot when she was talking. I don't know if maybe she got too emotional or something, or that's just the way she talks, but it felt like her voice was like cracking a little.
I didn't notice. She seemed all right. So she is officially All Elite Deonna Purrazzo. And like I said earlier, reports out of Fightful.com saying that Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné likely to sign with AEW for a big money contract, likely not going to WWE and going to AEW.
If that happens, then Purrazzo, you get pushed back, and
Yes.
it's going to be, Mercedes
Tony and Sasha.
Yeah.
I'm going to call her Sasha Banks for a while, even if she's not that in AEW. Sorry.
You'll get used to it eventually.
It'll take a while. I'm still calling him Edge. It's hard not to call him Edge. Adam Copeland just doesn't sound very wrestler.
Yeah, Edge is different.
Yeah. Speaking of Edge, his buddy Christian cut a promo with Kill Switch, the Luchasaurus, Mother Wayne, and Nick Wayne. Mother Wayne spoke a bit, but not too much, thankfully. I don't need to hear her talk. She can just stand there and play the role, which was good. Let Christian do the talking. I mean, she's not a performer like Christian is. She's not terrible, but I like when Christian does.
You don't really care.
Yeah, that's it. It just doesn't really
Christian,
work.
You care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian thanks Mother Wayne and his boy that he loves, Nick Wayne, for helping him win the TNT title, take the title back. Of course, at the pay-per-view, Edge beat Christian in the match, but then Luchasaurus had won a battle royal to get a TNT title shot that he then cashed in after attacking Edge after the match. And then Christian took the contract, cashed it in like a Money in the Bank, and then beat Edge with the help of Luchasaurus, who won that battle royal all on his own, and then just gave the contract to Christian. But of course, Christian didn't thank Luchasaurus, and the crowd was chanting Luchasaurus, and you saw him kind of go like, hey, like, what's going on here? How come I'm not getting any kind of respect in this group? It's all about the Waynes, but I'm the one. I'm Luchasaurus. I'm the one who really got you the TNT title, Christian, and you're not thanking me. And I was the TNT champion, and you kind of took it from me and all that stuff, right? So there's obvious, friction in that group with the Luchasaurus and Christian. I mean, Luchasaurus was even renamed to Kill Switch, which is Christian's finishing move, and he didn't seem all that thrilled about the rename. So obviously, at some point, there will be a turn of Luchasaurus on Christian, and it will probably lead to Edge and Luchasaurus versus Christian and Nick Wayne, I would figure, but who knows. But you figure at some point, the Luchasaurus will turn on Christian because he keeps mistreating him. And Christian and Edge, I think, still a thing. I think Edge will continue feuding with Christian at this point because it doesn't seem quite over.
Well, what I'm thinking here is that you'd have Jungle Boy come back and get Luchasaurus back on his side, kind of show him that, Christian is treating you badly, and, I can treat you better, kind of thing.
But he's not Jungle Boy anymore. He's Jack Perry. And then how do you have this guy, Jack Perry, come back to an AEW crowd as a babyface? Right off the bat, if Jack Perry ever shows his face, he's a massive heel.
Yeah, no, he'd still be a heel kind of thing. Definitely. Okay. If anything, this would put Edge with Christian and turn Christian face, actually.
Yeah, maybe.
And that way, Wembley, you'd have Edge and Christian team up, maybe wrestling the Hardys. That'd be kind of cool if you get to that point.
Or FTR for the belts, something like that.
Whatever. Something, but yeah, you get to that point where Edge and Christian are together for Wembley.
Speaking of FTR, they have a match tomorrow night on Collision against Buddy Murphy and Malachi Black of the House of Black.
See, you complained about the Star Power. They put the Star Power on Collision this week.
Kind of. FTR?
Sting,
I mean, what else?
Sting is wrestling.
What?
His last ever match in Charlotte is happening in a couple hours.
No. Is it? Who's he wrestling?
Yes. It's going to be Sting and Darby against the Workhorsemen.
The Workhorsemen?
Sting's wrestling the Horsemen one more time.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know Sting was wrestling on Collision. because he's also wrestling on Dynamite next week with Darby against Takeshita and Will Hobbs.
That yeah,
Right?
a lot of Sting this coming up, yeah.
When you said Sting was wrestling tomorrow, I was like, no, John, that's on Dynamite. I didn't realize wrestling on Collision and Dynamite. He's really packing them in before his last match in March. Trying to get as many as possible. Cool. So, yes, they will be in Charlotte, North Carolina tomorrow for a live Collision. Should be cool. Ric Flair will be there for sure. And then they'll be in North Charleston, South Carolina in a couple weeks, so that'll be big. Jacksonville. Jacksonville, Florida for Dynamite coming up next week. Next episode of Dynamite, which will have Sting and Darby versus Takeshita and Will Hobbs. Takeshita beat Darby this week in a match that I thought was excellent. I thought that was the best TV match that I saw all week. I know we said Kevin Owens and Santos Escobar was the best WWE match, but if we're talking about best wrestling match we saw all week on TV, I would say it was this one. This one was amazing.
Well, this is why I'd be like, you didn't like Dynamite, but that match was so good.
Darby.
Like, you still got to watch Dynamite for that match, I would say.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, man. This is why I want Darby Allin to be world champion. This is why I'm pissed off that we felt like we had a reset on Dynamite, but Darby Allin loses. Darby Allin is the best. Darby Allin is must watch every time. Every time. I like the little movies he does. Every match that he has is incredible. He is a homegrown AEW guy. He's been able to cut good promos. He's talked about how he's AEW through and through. He won't go anywhere but AEW. He loves AEW, and he will be there for life. Like, this is a guy you could make world champion, and I don't care how small he is. Every time he goes out there, his matches are amazing, and they're believable, which is the most important. And this match with Takeshita was no different. Darby Allin is must-watch every time. Every time. And so many guys in AEW are not must-watch. Sometimes you want to watch them. Sometimes you're like, yeah, whatever. No big deal. Darby Allin, everything he does is gold. So what are we waiting for here? He was a great TNT champion. I want him to be the world champion.
The timing is terrible right now for a singles run for him because he's going to be heavily involved with Sting. Whatever Sting is doing for March 3rd, Darby will be involved. So that's why I think
but after
he can lose
that,
single matches. Right. After that. But for now, on that road to, I think he's going to take a bunch of singles losses because he's getting all his wins in tag matches now. As they mentioned, this is the biggest thing that they should mention. I'm kind of glad they are, is that Sting and Darby have never lost a tag match.
Yes.
25
Don Callis did mention it. He said Sting is 25-0 in AEW. But that's not Sting and Darby's record, right? Because there's some 6-mans and 8-mans and stuff in there too.
That's true. But
usually with Darby. Has Sting wrestled a match in AEW without Darby as his partner?
I feel like Darby was always involved. Like, it may have been like an 8-man, whatever, but Darby was always there, I
think so too. I feel like Darby is always there, and Darby has always been there. So Darby and Sting together, 25-0. Don Callis says he's going to make it 25-1 next week, but it really would be 26-1 because they're going to win against the Workhorsemen on Collision, right? But 25-0. Sting yet never lost in AEW. Do you think he will lose at some point, or they're just going to end it with the tag belts and retire on top, undefeated in AEW?
That'd be nice. Like, I can see them lose the last match. I mean, again, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Like, will it even be a tag match to end it? Like, some people speculate it might be Sting versus Darby.
Yep.
As a way for Sting's last match. I mean, that's not a bad idea. It's just the formula has always been Sting and Darby, so why change it for the end? That seems to be the best way to do it. I think that's the best match you can get is Sting with Darby, so I wouldn't change it. If anything, they should go out the biggest way possible for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
Right now it's Starks and Big Bill.
Mhm.
But I believe Starks is facing Sammy Guevara this week, so maybe they're building towards that tag match against Sammy and Jericho.
If they bring Jericho back.
I feel like the whole Jericho stuff's kind of died down now.
It
Like it's
has,
not.
but I don't know. Who knows? They asked Tony Khan about it point blank at that press conference. Has Chris Jericho ever been investigated for any kind of inappropriate behavior with women backstage? Tony Khan did not answer that question. Said AEW is the safest place in pro wrestling. I mean, that's not saying much when the other place is got Vince McMahon at the top for all these years doing all sorts of, I mean, come on. We're the safest place for women in pro wrestling. Yeah, that's like saying, my KFC is the safest place for chickens. I mean, we kill fewer because we're doing less business, but still not a great place for chickens. If you catch my drift. I mean, come on. What? Tony Khan did not answer the goddamn question. Has Chris Jericho ever been investigated? AEW is a safe place, so we take everything very seriously, and we're not going to comment on internet rumors and stuff. It's like, okay, so has Chris Jericho ever been investigated? We don't comment on internet rumors here in AEW, which is always a safe place for women and everybody. And you're like, okay, dude, you didn't answer the question, though, which makes me think Chris Jericho was investigated. You just can't say that he was investigated, or you won't say that he was investigated, and that investigation came up empty, I guess, because Chris Jericho is still, in a big role in AEW. But the fact that Tony Khan was asked 3 times at that press conference, hey, Jericho, anything? And he goes, well, it's a safe place to work here. I don't... You're going to say Jericho's name? Nope. You're going to say yes or no whether Jericho was investigated? Nope, can't do that either. Thanks for your time, Tony Khan. You said enough. He said everything without saying anything. That was something. They asked about Jericho. Hey, anything to this Jericho's maybe the Harvey Weinstein of AEW? I don't comment on internet rumors. AEW is a safe place for all women. This is the best place for women in all of the wrestling. All of wrestling? I mean, that's not saying very much, my friend. And even then, how do you know for sure? Have you surveyed every wrestling promotion in the world? He's just taking a shot at WWE there, basically. And Jericho wasn't on Dynamite, and they didn't mention Jericho or anything. And Jericho wasn't on Rampage, and they didn't mention Jericho or anything. And then Collision will happen tomorrow, and we'll see, but he's not advertised. We'll see next week, and the week after, and the week after that. But whatever went down, whatever's happening, Chris Jericho's name was mentioned and caused Tony Khan some discomfort in answering and tiptoeing around answering some questions at a press conference. And then Jericho wasn't seen on TV this week. Not saying there's a correlation, just saying it's all been suspicious. It's all been suspicious. I thought, well, there's nothing really to it. There's just a couple rumors on the internet, nobody putting their name behind it or anything. But then when Tony Khan was asked, hey, has Jericho ever been investigated? And he's avoiding the question. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Doesn't make me feel good. Go, whoa, what do you mean? So is Jericho a bad guy? Should we burn our Y2J t-shirts? Like, what's going on here, Tony Khan? Give me an answer. So we'll see if we see Jericho back. We'll see if we see Jericho and Guevara challenge for the AEW tag titles. Right now, I think that's up in the air. I don't think that's clear. I think Jericho may be under investigation right now, and that's why they're keeping him off TV until they figure out what the hell to do. We don't know. We don't know, John, but when something like that happens, when there's all this kind of news and everything, they may have to act. They may have to do something for old Jericho.
Well, I expect he'll be on Dynamite, but again, we'll wait and see. I feel like this is done. This is blown over. I feel, and
Why would
people are
you
moving
expect
on
him on Dynamite if he wasn't on Dynamite this past week?
because they didn't do anything with Sammy this week. There was nothing with Starks and Big Bill, but we're doing something next week at Daily Place.
Okay. So if Jericho's there, nothing to it. If he's not, what do you think? What are you thinking if we go 2 straight weeks without Jericho?
Oh, they're trying to avoid negative reactions.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me. But I feel like there won't be, though.
Well, he was booed out of the building at the pay-per-view. We haven't seen him since. There were allegations on the internet that he was inappropriate with a former wrestler, a female wrestler. It's not... There wasn't anything real or concrete behind it. There was another wrestling reporter who said, Jericho, he's kind of a bad guy. He's like Harvey Weinstein. But it was not really, there was nothing specific. There's nothing specific out there that could tie anything. Was Jericho on Rampage tonight? Apparently he was.
I mean, he may have done commentary. It makes sense.
Oh, maybe he did a promo. Apparently he did do a promo on Rampage tonight.
That was backstage though.
Backstage, not in front of the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't catch that. We're doing the show while Rampage is going on, right? But apparently Jericho did have a backstage promo. Thank you. Thank you for that info. So maybe they're going to keep on going, right? I'm sure he wants to. But if the crowd reactions continue to be the way they were at the pay-per-view, well, the pay-per-view was in Long Island, though. I don't think that the crowd will be the same in Florida for Jericho, right?
Yeah,
and again,
a different crowd.
AEW crowd. It's a specific type of person that watches AEW, I don't know. They might be mad.
Well, you'll still get maybe a stupid sign here or there, but that would be about it. I don't think it'll be as bad as it was at the pay-per-view. I feel like this is done. People have moved on, I think.
What is it? The woke babies? I love those woke babies. On South Park?
Cancel culture?
You see, no, the babies? The woke babies?
I didn't see that episode.
You haven't seen those? It was like a running thing for several... Maybe we're not watching the same seasons. I feel like I'm referencing things that I've seen on South Park and you haven't seen it. Because I got the Paramount Plus now and I'm watching South Park in my spare time. Some South Park episodes. Integrity Farm stuff has been really good. I like that.
I know Integrity.
Randy Marsh is a guy who sells weed now. He's got Integrity Farms and Towley is his business partner. I think that's fantastic. That was a nice development that I've been laughing at. It's a fun, dumb show.
Randy's the best character now, so you've gotten to at least that part.
Yeah, he is, right? He's like the main character. Yeah. How did that happen?
Not the main character, but he's the best character.
I remember when I was watching South Park, it was all about Eric Cartman. That guy, he was the main guy. And now it seems like Randy Marsh is the best character. I like when he goes, "Hey, fuck you." That's the fucking best. Somebody tells us some bad news. He goes, "Hey, fuck you." It's just the intonation.
There's a lot of amazing. There's a lot of amazing Randy moments.
Yeah, just when he switches into the integrity voice, he's like just talking normal, and he's like, "I'm gonna give you some integrity." I fucking love it. Anyways. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Trent Beretta beat Brian Keith, Brian Cage, and El Hijo del Vikingo in a fatal four-way to earn a title shot at Eddie Kingston's Continental Crown Championship. So Trent Beretta will wrestle Eddie Kingston for, I don't understand, 3 belts or 1 belt? Which belt?
Yeah, I think it's for all the belts, I think.
All the belts. So he won a belt by winning a tournament, and now he defends that belt? What if he loses the belt?
Like, I believe that's what it's all about. Like, if you lose the Continental, you lose all your titles, too. Like, they're all linked together in a sense.
Okay. And then in the tournament next year, you have to put all the belts on the line again? Because the Continental Classic belt was one of the belt. Like Eddie Kingston has the Ring of Honor World title.
World, yes.
The New Japan Strong title.
That's right, yeah.
And now the Continental Classic title. And they're calling the Continental Crown Championship, which is
Triple Crown, no?
The Continental Triple Crown. I thought they just said Continental Crown Championship.
They might have changed it, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
So it's 3 belts. One is the Ring of Honor, one is New Japan Strong, and one is the belt he made, the belt he won by winning the tournament.
Yeah.
But if he loses the belt, I mean, he still won the tournament, and they're still going to have the tournament next year. You see what I'm saying? Usually when you win a tournament, you get like a trophy, and then you don't defend the trophy in regular matches. You're the champion until next year when they do it again, and you either enter the tournament as the champion or you don't, and they crown a new champion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're thinking G1 stuff here, but
I'm thinking normal sports.
Right. But the way they did this is that they had a championship for all 3. So they're always will be linked. AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan will always be linked because of this championship.
And so next year, whoever is champion, Eddie Kingston or whoever, has to defend, has to put everything on the line in this tournament.
That's right.
And that will be the case every year, possibly?
They shouldn't be in. It should be like you win like A, B block, whatever, and then you should face the champion. That's what it should be, I think. But I think you actually probably have to put all the belts on the line, and you're in a bracket probably.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they did it the first year with all the belts kind of out of nowhere. So now that it's established, we'll see how they do it next year. I think your idea of the winner of the A and B block faces each other, and then the winner of that match faces the champion, I think that would be good. They should do that. But
to me, that makes sense. But again, we'll wait and see.
Kind of puts the champion at a huge advantage, though, because whoever comes out of the tournament has gone through a grueling tournament and then gets to face this champion. Putting everything on the line in the tournament is not so bad either. Yeah, whatever. We'll see what they do. But the fact that this guy, Brian Keith, was on Dynamite made me go, who? And why? And what is this match? Trent Beretta, Brian Keith, Brian Cage, and Vikingo. I was like, man, this show, it doesn't have a lot of pizzazz. The match was whatever. And it's like, you win a shot at what? Eddie Kingston's belt? Pretty mid.
Like, again, something maybe you just didn't catch. Brian Keith, I believe, had wrestled on Rampage before. I believe he wrestled Hangman.
So?
An episode of, I'm just saying, you've seen him.
Yeah, but who cares?
Right. I get you don't care, but we have seen him, like, decently recently.
Haven't given us a reason to care about him. Why is he in a match for a title shot? Who's he ever beat?
Well, because he qualified to be on the Ring of Honor Final Battle pay-per-view a couple weeks ago.
Whatever. And Vikingo is just kind of sprinkled in here and there. Talented kid, but, like, he's just there. They have talented people that stand out, and then they don't really do much with them. They just kind of use them in various spots where they need a hole filled. There's a lot of booking on the fly here.
That's the way they use a lot of their luchadors, I find.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, we have a spot. Let's put, Commander in there. Phoenix used to be that way, but he's hurt now. So
right.
They get somebody else. Gravity.
Just throw him in. Commander, Gravity, whoever they got. Jumping over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, they had their big WrestleMania show of the year. They call it Wrestle Kingdom. Tetsuya Naito defeated Sanada to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Congratulations to the great Naito, Okada over Danielson, and a bunch of other great matches. Dolph Ziggler showed up.
Right.
With his brother.
Didn't wrestle.
Did not wrestle. Showed up with his brother, Ryan Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth, who had a speaking role as Gino Hernandez in the movie Iron Claw, which I saw. I don't know if you've seen the movie, John. But Ryan Nemeth is in it, and he's got some lines. He's in it way more than MJF is in it, that's for sure. But MJF is like a producer credit. MJF was one of the producers of the movies. Yeah, executive producer. That's pretty cool. Good for him.
It's not bad. It's good.
He's cashing in on that. That's massive for MJF. And the movie was, was decent. I thought it was a good movie. But I know the story of the Von Erichs, and I really didn't learn much. It was kind of a quick overview of everything that went on. And I was like, all right, what else is there? I think if you don't know the story, you'd enjoy the movie more. But if you're like a big wrestling fan and you know the story and you know everything and the ins and outs and Fritz and David and Carrie and Mike and Kevin and all that stuff, you kind of go, all right, tell me something I don't know. And they didn't really have that. It was decent. I didn't hate it. I thought it was, it was a good movie. It was what it was, but I didn't think it was like a brilliant thing. I was like, wow, this is amazing. It didn't blow my mind. But it was good. It was fine. They all did well. The guy that played Fritz, I thought, was incredible. A lot of people were saying the guy that played Kerry Von Erich was really good, and, he was. I thought the guy that played David Von Erich was amazing. He looked like him. And the guy that played Fritz looked like him, too. I thought the guy that played Kerry Von Erich just didn't look like him. He looked a little too small, like he was jacked and all, but he was kind of shorter, and he just didn't look a lot like Kerry Von Erich. And he was good in the movie and all, but I didn't buy it. I didn't buy him as Kerry Von Erich. I bought Kevin Von Erich. I bought David Von Erich. I really bought Fritz Von Erich. That guy who played Fritz was amazing. He should win an Oscar, let me tell you. But, yeah. I thought the Iron Claw was all right. But Portier Concierge says the movie The Wrestler was a lot better than Iron Claw. I agree. I like The Wrestler, too. I like that better.
Well, the main complaints was about the guy who played Ric Flair. I saw that. A lot of people didn't like the guy who was Flair in the movie. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, the Flair wasn't great either. The Flair was not good. Was nothing like Flair. But it's hard to do a good Ric Flair impression. Jay Lethal can do it, but
Harley Race too apparently wasn't good as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Couple guys you go, really? But, it's hard, man. Those are guys with unique looks. Find a guy that looks like Harley Race.
That'd be tough. Harley, yes, very difficult. I feel with Flair, though, you could pull it off, though.
It's tough, man. Not a lot of guys walking around looking like the Nature Boy Ric Flair, especially when he was in his prime. That's a unique look. This is why pro wrestlers are gigantic stars, is because, a lot of it is they look so crazy and cool. No one else looks like them. Larger than life, It's hard to find a guy that looks like Ric Flair. It's hard to find a guy that looks like Harley Race. I thought they did a really good job finding guys that look like the Von Erichs. They tried with the rest, but what are you going to do? I saw Chavo in the movie. Chavo was wrestling. I saw, like I said, Ryan Nemeth. I saw MJF for a little bit. I thought I saw Braun Strowman, but it was real quick. I'm not sure. Was he in the movie? I'm not even sure. I thought I saw a guy. I was like, is that Braun Strowman? But then he was gone. I was like, huh? Like a backstage locker room scene. Quick shot. I was like, is that Braun? Yeah, I thought that movie was good. Overall. Say it again?
You're giving it a thumbs up, though.
No, I'd give it a thumbs up. Yeah, for sure. No, it was enjoyable. I didn't hate it. I didn't think that they did a disservice to pro wrestling or the Von Erichs. I thought they did a good job of, letting people know who these guys were, what they stood for, and all the good that they did. So I thought that was good. I thought it was good. DJ Dark says Nick Hausman is a buddy of Punk's. Jericho talks shit about Punk. Do the math. Yeah, Nick Hausman was a guy talking about Jericho. And, definitely we talked about it when we talked about Nick Hausman and Jericho. We mentioned that
Yep.
affiliation. When was it? Saturday night when we did the post show for AEW World's End? That's when everything kind of broke, right? We talked about that at length at the AEW World's End post show. If you missed that, go check it out right now on our YouTube channel. And yeah, Dolph Ziggler showing up in New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think is great for him. I think that would be a great place for him. He could have great matches there. He could do big things. Maybe his brother, maybe a tag team type of thing. I don't know. But Dolph Ziggler is a great wrestler. I always thought he was underused in WWE. I think most people thought that. And he's got everything going for him. I think he could be a gigantic star anywhere. New Japan, AEW, Impact, whatever. I think he could be a big star in pro wrestling. So I thought it was cool. January 1st, I think his contract was up. He could go and do whatever as his no-compete after his release. So I would like to see him show up in New Japan just as much as I'd like to see him show up in AEW. I heard Matt Riddle is also going to New Japan. He made an appearance via video to challenge Tanahashi. So Riddle also going to Japan. A little controversial. People seem upset that Riddle's getting an opportunity to wrestle. I'd say Riddle needs to be very careful what he does when he's in Japan. They arrested, I think they arrested Snoop Dogg for smoking weed in Japan. Like, you can't go to Japan and do any kind of drugs. They don't play around. You can't smoke weed. You can't do mushrooms in Japan, Riddle, so be careful. He's also had problems with airports. That's what kind of led to his release from WWE. His release from WWE was not like, we're making a bunch of releases, we're cutting people. His release from WWE was, this guy's a problem, we don't want to be associated with him anymore, we're cutting. And New Japan apparently taking the gamble. MLW as well, taking a gamble on Matt Riddle. I wouldn't do it, but they're doing it. I'll watch. I'll pay attention. I'll see what happens. We'll see. I wish him the best. Wish him the best. Wish New Japan the best. I have higher hopes for Dolph Ziggler there than I do for Riddle, just because Riddle's had some problems recently, and I don't know if he's got them all figured out. I hope he does.
Well, crazy. You might see in the same year, you might see Matt Riddle and Liv Morgan go to jail, possibly for drugs. That'll be interesting.
Liv Morgan's not going to jail for weed.
Apparently, it's possible.
God damn, really? What did she have?
I don't think it's going to happen.
How much does she have?
I think it was like 20 grams, they said, but still, apparently in Florida. But in Florida, apparently, that can put you at least a year in prison, they said. But I feel like that's not going to happen, though.
No. They're saying it was initially a felony drug possession, but her case has been reduced. It's probably going to be reduced to a misdemeanor. And she's...
Probably. Hasn't happened yet, though.
According to Dave Meltzer, first-time marijuana offenders in Florida are usually able to pay a small fine, and that's it. Oh, my God. Liv Morgan is said to have hired attorney Jack Goldberger. This is according to Wrestling Inc. I don't know how reputable this is. But apparently Liv Morgan has hired attorney Jack Goldberger, who is a prominent Florida lawyer and is perhaps best known for serving on the legal team of Jeffrey Epstein when he was charged with child sex trafficking in 2019. I don't know if you'd go with that guy. But I don't know. Did Epstein go to jail for that case? I mean, if you can free Jeffrey Epstein from child sex trafficking charges, you're probably a good lawyer. I'd hire you. Fair enough, Liv Morgan. Fair enough. Right? If you can free Jeffrey Epstein from prison, you're probably going to be able to free Liv Morgan. Jack Goldberger.
Well, yeah, I don't think she's going to prison. I think she'll be fine.
Scared me there, John.
Well, I just saw that. It's like, oh, the possibility she might go to prison. Like, wow.
Yeah. That's
Gotta
who you
watch out
hire.
when you're in Florida.
That's a lawyer you hire. If you're ever in trouble, John, you find the most guilty person that you could think of that got off. And then you get their lawyer because they're good. Johnny Cochran, he was good, baby. He got OJ right off the hook. You remember that Casey Anthony woman who killed her kid? They had this guy, Jose Baez, as their lawyer. He got her off. She was clearly, it seemed as though she was guilty. She made up all these stories, and she's fucking free. You find some guilty-ass people, and if they get off, you hire their lawyer when you get in trouble, because those motherfuckers know what they're doing. Liv Morgan's like, this motherfucker got Jeffrey Epstein free of some child sex shit? I mean, he's got to be good, because that motherfucker is guilty. The whole world knows that guy's guilty. This guy's been dead for a couple years, and people are still like, man, that guy was a piece of shit. They're still talking about him. Crazy. Free Liv Morgan.
People didn't get it. He didn't get AJ this week, but we still got some AJ talk at least, so that's nice.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We appreciate everybody tuning in to this wild and wacky world that we bring you each and every Friday night on Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network. I want to give a special shout-out to Harold Schneider dropping the Super Chat. You are the Super Chat leader of the night, Harold. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you to all our members. Of course, Harold Schneider, the main man tonight, Jimmy James, Angelo Contagonis, Leor. Who else did I see in the chat? I saw a bunch of members in the chat tonight. Franco316. I saw my buddy Jason out in Mexico. Jason Pete. And so many others. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking us out. Kyle Salisbury, Portier Concierge. I see you all. Ryan Katz, DJ Dark. Everybody checking in on the chat on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Kick, Rumble, all the platforms supporting the Ringside Report Network. We will be back here, I'd say Thursday night. That's when I'll be back. Got another weekend off. Is that real?
That's when you'll be back.
I got a weekend off. That's great. I got next weekend off, too. Weekend after, we're back in effect. UFC 297 coming up. I'll be back here Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Ringside Report MMA, where we get to preview the first UFC event of the year. Finally, we get some fights back in our life. Magomed Ankalaev taking on Johnny Walker next Saturday, January the 13th, which is it's a pretty sweet fight. I like that. It's a good way to start off my year with a big Magomed Ankalaev fight coming up next week, so we'll preview that coming up 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday night here on the Ringside Report Network, and then Johnny and I will be back, as we are every Friday, getting geared up for the Royal Rumble in 3 weeks' time here, every Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right after SmackDown for Wrestling Uncensored, here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringside